In the spirit of working on my temper, I went to a 12-step meeting, and there's, 12-step meetings for everything. So I was looking into the one where it talks about how to deal with your experiences when you're like learning how to love yourself. Basically, like you may have been trying to turn people into your parent. It's like for people who grew up in like dysfunctional families. So also being involved with a man named Kohn, talking with a friend Chani Duban. Like, so I was thinking about what matters to me. For example, in the spirit of working on my temper, that if I choose better ways of doing things, like when I get upset and I want to curse, because in the Torah it says in Devarim, is it 27:17 or something like that? It says, "Cursed is the one who steps on his fellow's boundaries." Like when somebody's like overtaking me, overriding me, pressuring me like too much, I get so upset, and it's just feels so unfair. Like why are they so on top of me and like thinking they could get away with it? Why are they stealing my energy? And then, so instead of cursing people, I could remind them, like, you're transgressing me, or warn them. Like, instead of wishing harm and punishment, I could focus on my own self-care. I could trust and remember Hashem, his authority over all the portions. And also, I'm thinking about how, I have some priceless values to me that matter more than money. Because I think sometimes, like, why is it that I don't care so much about money? And I realize other things matter, like not having to rush in life, to be able to be adaptive and flexible and pivot, and to have my own confidence and faith and originality, and to be able to have wonder. And, there's a lifestyle I have to live to have wonder, rather than a numb sort of lifestyle where, like, it's about yes money or no money. And also I like having a non-traditional schedule of unusual hours. I also find that I could have forgiveness, tolerance, transformation, and something worth more than money for me is satisfaction and fulfillment, as well as, for my own self, like self-respect and self-trust. And all of this could be based on my relationship with Hashem. Also, there's like something about the word mad. It's both angry and insane. And I was thinking that I don't have to find, like in the spirit of not losing my temper, I don't have to find excuses for going mad. I could use it to bring out the tzaddik in me. So it's also about not finding excuses to not problem solve. Hashem only gives me what I can handle. Hashem is trying to bring out the tzaddik in me. So having someone willing to be my everything is someone I can be my worst with, my best, and not treating others like objects. Even though I'll say that there's somebody who I feel treating me like an object, who's objectifying me even now, like that I'm all or nothing, black and white, thinking like it's someone who's a villain or the hero, like either the good guy or the bad guy, like not a human being. And like in the ways in which I disappointed them and hurt them, but I like didn't intend to, and they've just been so angry and so hurt, and there's nothing I could do to fix it, I felt. And I feel like kind of tricked, because they made it seem like they misrepresented like what they were about, and then they didn't follow through. And I did really like what they had to offer, and then it just seemed to disappear, and they blamed me. So it's acceptance. So having not treating others like objects, and when I do this, like responsibility after idealization, not to devalue and devaluate and discard, that's when the work begins. So somebody didn't have the ability when, of relationship, because that's when the work begins of relating, finding what inspires me in them and what's good that they've been doing. So there's, because they're like, that's when you learn how to say sorry for the impact of my actions, even if my intentions were not meant harm, because the consequences of my choices may have hurt the person. And like there's a lot of stuff I might have avoided in my survival mode, which became a minefield, which resulted in a territory battle and aggressive, passive-aggressive warfare. And the inner child in me that hid in my father's shadow, like neglected, powerless, defenseless, criticized, the harsh eye, avoided and rejected, and inferior, inadequate, not at home, unwanted, not belonging, not listened to, not cared about, both projecting and blaming men. Also, the men still tried to provide and protect some of them, which is noble, given that they may have felt deprived, threatened themselves. And also, there's like a wisdom in everything, even breaking the tension, the ice with an inappropriate joke or laughter. Like it could be a shock in a good way. And so I was reading online, like let's say how to be, like this is on the topic, from Love Securely on Instagram, how to become a more emotionally safe partner. So first of all, I wanted to take zinc. Hold on, zinc for my immune system. One, respond to vulnerability with gentleness. This is the immediate thing to do. Keep their secrets sacred always. Validate before you problem solve every time. Own your mistakes quickly within hours. Regulate your own emotions, daily practice. Ask permission before giving advice every conversation. And create judgment-free zones ongoing. Be consistent in your responses, like build trust over time. And apologize for impact, not just intent. This is after conflict. And then also on Instagram, there is Lover Owen Clark, that anything less than full transparency is not a relationship, because someone withholding information does manipulate your version of reality. And oh wait, we skipped a few. From Love Securely, check in on their emotional state weekly. Celebrate their wins without making it all about you always. And do regular self-reflection monthly. So yeah, anything less than full transparency is not a relationship, because someone who is withholding information manipulates your version of reality. So they could get what they want from you while behaving in ways they know would cause you to make different choices. Whether it's lying, omission, dodgy, erratic behavior, being grandiose, feigning you are not smart enough to understand, describing events differently than others who were there, hiding possessions, sudden mood changes, getting defensive, deflecting, stonewalling, lashing out at you when you ask reasonable questions. They keep pushing back, saying you're making a big deal out of nothing, that you have unreasonable expectations, nobody's perfect, you're being demanding, everything's fine, you need to chill or shut up. If you ask a reasonable question about agreements, plans, whereabouts, finances, or share that you sense something off, and they respond by being allergic to talking or to taking personal responsibility, you have your answer. And people who have the capacity to be in a healthy relationship will not act like this. If someone treats you in a manipulative, grandstanding, evasive manner, regardless of what they're hiding, it's time to go, because they don't deserve to be in your life. That's extremely unhealthy behavior. And Afsa Rosette on Instagram, she says, maturity is realizing that being single lets you live in theory, and relationships drag you into practice, and practice is messy. And think about it, she says, you can spend years reading about forgiveness, but you only discover your capacity when someone wounds you. You might feel like the right person till you're in the presence of someone who reveals the parts of you that still resist love. Most people misinterpret that exposure, and believe that discomfort means the relationship is wrong. Relationships don't just show you how much love you have. They show you the parts of you that don't know how to love at all. And that's where, most might break, because it's easier to keep searching for better than to sit with in the mirror what we've been given. And it's easier to say that the problem is to ask what it's bringing out of me that needs tending. Every single relationship will expose you, some your tenderness, some your rage, shame, some your emptiness. The work's not to find someone who doesn't trigger you. That's a fantasy. The work is finding someone committed to repair, when the triggers come, because not everyone deserves the privilege of seeing your shadows. That's why discernment matters. And in singlehood, you control the environment, the noise, the pace, and the space. You can curate peace and avoid triggers, but relationship does not give you that luxury. You don't get to mute someone else's humanity. Their rhythms crash into yours, and their fears irritate you, and their wounds touch yours, and suddenly your shadows have nowhere to hide. And that's when most of us run, because because real love is not just warm, it's terrifying. It strips your illusions and forces you to hold uncertainty in one hand and devotion in the other hand. And this helps me to let go of somebody, for sure, just reading that. Like, when it mattered, they couldn't do repair, and they couldn't stay devoted. Okay. And I guess I knew that. I guess I know I deserve devotion and somebody who can repair. There was somebody a while back in my life, a few months ago, maybe. I was having confusion about it, because there was a time where I'd let him touch me in more distant past, and so now I'd asked him not to touch me. So I went to this meeting where it helps you learn about your boundaries, about love, and how to love myself, and also my relationship to ideas of sex and love and romance, and all of it, basically a program of recovery, 12-step program. So I asked him not to touch, but now this is in the past, it stopped. But he kept asking, and I kept seeing how ugly his traits were, like how manipulative and avoidant, irresponsible, untrustworthy, deflective, argumentative, bullish, and entitled he was. And I thought, is this like a pendulum or a natural flow? Like, or is it just because I spent a lot of time with somebody? Is that what happens? And thinking of boyfriend versus husband, I think that in my upbringing, the man should be useful, enhancing, reliable, accountable, shouldn't burden me, nor demand or harass or control. And I felt like this guy that this was involved, his name was Aaron, reminded me of my inner child and how could I be so cruel to. So even though I hated all these things about him, it was also like, how could I be so cruel to someone just, who neglects his own self so much, like a child, but he's grown, like, and that having a husband is not, as a child, is not the way to become a mother. Like, if I want to become a mother, I shouldn't do it by making the man the child, like, to take care of him. And, peace in my own inner child versus, like, the exiled parts, the parts I don't like. So, the idea that, like, having grown up in a hostile environment, or, like, we'll just call it, like, domestic violence in the home when I was younger, and also in relationship at some point, not that long ago, but quite some time ago, I remember feeling triggered. When feeling triggered, it was so intense and unsafe, but also, like, the fear of the sons, because I didn't want to face the fear of, like, that there wasn't anyone there, like, and I realized I just have to learn how to trust the masculine, not just with me, but in himself, that he'll have to figure it out for himself. The animus, the inner masculine, is in me as well, and I can allow the man out there to figure it out, to face the truth, to be a good person, to choose love, to trust him, that he could, like the right one for me, I won't be too much, and he'll choose devotion, and he'll fix everything if he ruins it, he'll do repair. Not if he ruins it, but he won't ruin it. Prevention is better than the cure, but if he makes a mistake, he'll try to fix it, So that's, and even if the mistake was getting involved with me when he was not supposed to, and or that when he, if he hurt me, and then he makes sure that he makes up for it. All right, so that's all. This video is a few days late. This is from today's Thursday, so it's from Tuesday, actually. All right, bye.